Today we are going over the math worksheet that was a part of Module 3. I'm still learning how to use some of this technology, so bear with me. So here we have it. This was the assignment. So the instructions are that we start with these initial values for every question. In other words, at the start of every question, we initialize x to 6, okay, y to 9, and z to 11, as shown here. So that's what we start with for every question. And the task is to interpret the mathematical symbols in the question to determine the value of the variables that are asked for after that line of code were to be executed. So for number 1, we again start with z equals 11. And the equation says z plus equals -2. And we're asked what is the value of z after that line is executed. So what does plus equals mean? Very good. So plus equals is shorthand for the variable equals itself plus whatever comes on the right side of that shorthand. So in this case, z is equal to itself plus a -2. So z starts out at 11. We subtract 2, so z becomes 9. Okay, so the correct answer for number 1 is simply z equals 9. You do have to state which variable you're talking about. Okay, moving on to number 2, we have y plus equals 1. So again, y starts off at 9. Then we are adding 1 to that value, which makes y equal to 10. And we have to state the variable as well. So to be more correct, we should say y equals 10. Good? Questions on those two? Okay. All right. Number 3, x plus plus. So x starts out as 6, as we see here. And what does that plus plus mean? Add 1. That's correct. So x becomes what? X equals 7. Okay, so far so good. Number 4, we have x divided by equals y. What does that shorthand mean again? Divide by equals? Right. X is equal to x divided by y. But here's the trick. This is integer division because all of the variables are initialized as type integer. So we do have, if we were to write that out, that would become x equals, x starts out at 6, so that's 6, and y starts out at 9, 6 divided by 9. Now, if you were doing fractional division, okay, that would be 2/3 or 0.667, something like that. But since all of these are integers, we're doing integer division. So what this question is asking is what is the integer part of division of 6 divided by 9? And so what would that be? Let me ask it this way. How many times does 9 go into 6? 0. It goes in 0 times when we're talking about integer division. So the correct answer for number 4 is x equals 0. It also asks for the value of y. What is the value of y? A little louder? That's correct. Y remains at 9. Y is unchanged. So the correct answer for number 4 is x equals 0 and y equals 9. Okay, number 5. Things are getting a little complicated now. Z times equals plus plus x minus 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 y. Now we have these increment operators coming before the variable. Okay, so they're prefix increment operators. Does that matter? Prefix as opposed to postfix, which we saw in number 3. Does it make a difference? It does make a difference because we're in an assignment. When we have these prefix operators, the way these work is that we assign the new values, the incremented values, to those variables before the assignment takes place. Okay? If they were postfix operators, we would assign those new values after the assignment takes place. So if we were to write this out, this would be equivalent to z equals z times, and that's plus plus x, so that's x plus 1 or 7 minus, and then we have minus minus y, so y minus 1 is 8. Okay, and I do need those parentheses there because of the way this equation is written, this assignment, excuse me, is written. So, and z is 11, so we have z equals 11 times negative 1, z equals negative 11. And these are our new values of x and y right here. X becomes 7 and y becomes 8 because it does ask for all 3. Okay, I did see some students that the question asked for 3 different values and the student only gave 1 value. Okay, that's not correct. You have to answer what the question is asking. So you have to give all 3. X is 7, y is 8, z is negative 11. Questions on that one? Okay, number 6 gets a little more complicated. In some ways, this is actually the trickiest one in the whole worksheet. We have z modulus equals parentheses plus plus x times plus plus y. So what does that modulus equals mean? So it means that we're going to divide and we're interested in the remainder. That's what modulus means. So x is equal to the initial value of x, which is 6 modulus this whole thing. We have plus plus z times plus plus x. So z started out at 11, so that means that this is 12 times, and x started out at 6, so that means this is 12 times 7. Now we're interested in the remainder of 6 divided by some big number. We actually don't even have to figure out what 12 times 7 is to answer this question. 6 divided by some large number and taking the remainder of that is going to be 6. So x equals 6, and those are our new values of x and z. Excuse me, No, that is the new value of x. So x is 6. Z is 12. And what's y? Y doesn't change. So y is still 9. Questions on that? All right. Number 7, x modulus equals z plus 13. So that would be x equals itself modulus z plus 13. If we plug in the values, that'd be x equals 6 modulus z plus 13. Z is 11. So that'd be 24. So 6 modulus 24 is 6. And it also asks for z. What is z at the end of number 7? Does z's value change? No. So z is still 11. Okay. Let's try to pick up the pace a little bit. Number 8, we have z times equals x plus plus. So here we have the post increment operators. So that means that x is going to increment after the assignment takes place. Okay, so let's write this out. So this becomes z equals itself, which is 11 times. Now it's x plus plus, so that means the assignment takes place again after, excuse me, the increment takes place after the assignment. So for now, x still has its original value, which is 6. And then minus 4 plus y. Again, y still has its original value, which is 9. So 4 plus that is 13. Okay, so that gives us z equals 11 times negative 7. Z equals negative 77. Now we have to take care of the increment and decrement operators that are post-fix. So that happens after the assignment. So x becomes 7 and y becomes 8. Okay? So that illustrates the important distinction between the prefix and the postfix operators. It only matters when they're in an assignment. If you just have it by itself, it doesn't actually affect anything. Number 9, y minus equals z minus plus plus x. So we have y equals itself, which at this point is 9, minus z at this point is 11, and then minus, and that's a prefix increment operator, so that's x plus 1, 7. Okay, so we have y equals 9 minus 4, y equals 5. X equals 7. And what about z? 11, correct, doesn't change. Good. Number 10, z plus equals x plus 1. So that's z equals itself, which is 11, plus x plus 1, which is 7. So z equals 18. And does value of x change? No, the value of x remains the same. It's unchanged by that operation, so x is still 6. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Number 11. Y plus equals 4. That's pretty straightforward. So y is itself plus 4. Y starts out at 9, so y becomes 13. Doesn't ask for the other variables. They're unchanged anyway. Number 12 is pretty straightforward. Plus plus x. X starts out at 6, so x becomes 7. Number 13. X times equals y. So that's x equals itself, which is 6, and then y is 9. So x equals 54, and y is unchanged at 9. Okay, a couple more. Number 14, z times equals x minus y. So that means we have z equals itself times x minus y. Or when we plug in the original values of all three of those, we have z equals 11 times x minus y. So x is 6, y is 9, so that's negative 3. 11 times negative 3. So z equals negative 33. X and y are unchanged. X is 6, y is 9. (15) We have x times equals minus minus z times plus plus y, and those are prefix operators. So we have x equals itself times minus minus z times plus plus y. We'll plug in the values. X is 6 times, that's negative negative z minus minus z, so that becomes 10 times, and we increment y by 1, so that becomes 10. So we have x equals 6 times 10, which is 600. And y and z are both 10. Number 16, z equals y modulus x plus plus, and that's a postfix operator. So we can write that out as z equals, plug in the values here, that's 9 modulus, x is unchanged for now, so 9 modulus 6, we take the remainder of that division, z becomes 3, x is incremented to 7, y is unchanged at 9. (17) We have z times equals, or z equals itself, which at the moment is 11, times, this is a prefix operator for x, so that becomes 7 minus, and then we have a postfix operator for y, so y is unchanged for the moment, so y plus 9. Okay, so that's 7 minus 13 is negative 6, so z equals 11 times negative 6, or negative 66. And x was already incremented to 7, and y now becomes decremented to 8. Last one. Y plus equals plus x minus x. So y equals itself, which is 9. Then we are incrementing z now, which is 12. Y equals 9 plus 12 minus x, which is 6. So we have 12 minus 6 is 6 plus 9. Y is 15. Z is 12. X is unchanged at 6. So that finishes the worksheet. Any questions? All right, good.